Welcome here with us to KNX Association. My name is Michael, and I'm happy to show you today what we have done with the latest version of ETS6, version 6.1.1. We have spent some time and we have listened to the feedback from the community, and I think you will find that version 6.1.1 is a general improvement of the user's needs. The first thing I would like to cover is that we have improved the overall signing in, startup, and licensing process of ETS6. This new processes should make it a lot easier for you to start working with ETS. Before I now continue listing all of the new features that we have included, why not just go directly to ETS and I show them to you in the software. I have my ETS here. It is licensed using the cloud licensing, so I do not have the dongle plugged in. I have a tiny house demo project here that I would like to show you. So I will open that project, enter the project password, and the project is being opened. What you might see right from the start, because that's where we are at the moment, is in the buildings view, the new search folders. These new search folders, they are an evolution of the previous dynamic folders. And you see here, at the moment in the buildings view, 3 different kinds. The first one, and I think this is probably the most important one to you, is the cabinets folder. So in this folder, you see all the cabinets that you have created in your building topology. So in this cabinet, I have a number of devices. And because the search folders are expandable, I can also open these search folders and work directly here within the search folder. Another search folder we have added is the downloads required. And you see here in my current project, I have 8 devices requiring a download. This makes it very easy for me to get an overview of my project. Next to that, there's a search folder listing the devices that are not assigned to a room. This makes it easier for you to keep track of where you are in your building versus the topology. But enough said about search folders. We go directly into the building view. And I'm here now on the root of my building. I see here all my devices that I have inside my project now. I have some devices that are parked. They do not now have an individual address assigned to them, but I also have here a number of devices that do. And these devices are not all the same. I have here an IP interface. I have some twisted pair devices, different kinds. I see here a dimming actuator, an energy meter, switching actuator, a water leak sensor, and so on and so forth. These ones here, you might notice, they are called KNX RF multi devices. One of them being a media coupler, the other one being a 2-volt push button. And by this media coupler, all the other RF multi devices, for now only this one, are being integrated into my building topology. And now what you see here is that most of these devices, they have the secure flag. What that means is that these devices have an FDSK scanned, their security is activated, and in these cases also the serial number is assigned to them. And if I now select some of these devices, I can show you the biggest benefit of ETS 6.1.1. And that is that I can assign these individual addresses to the physical devices using their serial numbers. The resulting difference is that I do not have to go to the device and press the programming button. Let me show you. I'm selecting some of these devices, just for show now, and I will ask ETS to download the individual address. And you will expect that ETS asks you to press the programming button, like it does here. But what it also does is, it offers me to use the serial number that it knows for each of these devices. So I would say, yes, let's do that. Let's also do it for the other 2 devices that I have selected. And I can now just stay in front of my computer and watch ETS do all the work for me. And you see here now, the devices are one by one being programmed. I do not have to go to the devices. And also, I see the programming flags start one by one filling up. And so you see here now, these additional 3 devices, without me leaving my desk and without the devices previously having set the individual address, they were now programmed. So I can simply do download all. And then my devices are programmed. While we wait for this, because as you know, this might take a few seconds, I can already look at my catalog, because I might want to add another device. So I'll open up another panel and I scroll through all the manufacturers, all the KNX manufacturers offering certified devices. And I select the device, I add it to my project, and then once I've done that, I have another device in my catalog, for example. So now I'm done with my project. I'm done with the catalog. So what I would do is I would close the catalog. And this is something where you, the users, have told us what you are missing in the previous version of ETS6. And that was an easy way to close such secondary panels. We have reintroduced a closing panel, and we believe that this would solve the biggest concern of being able to close that project, that panel. So I click that here now, I close the panel, and the panel is gone. I might also want to look at the topology of this project, because in many cases we know that users work within the topology and not in the building view. So let's do that. Let's switch to the topology. I'll use the panel that I have and change its purpose to topology. And what I see here now is I see I have an IP area. And in that IP area, I have twisted pair line. And here I see all my devices. This one is grayed out, it's still being downloaded. But I also have an RF segment. And in here, I see my RF multi-devices. And this is done automatically by ETS, because in the building panel, I added an RF multi-coupler and I added an RF multi-device. And ETS takes care of that for me. So I'm happy with this. I'll switch back to the buildings view. That's where I'm most often. And what I would do now is what everyone else would do also. I would go through the devices and I would configure the devices the way I need it. Very often, here's my cabinet. Very often you would look at a device and you would see, okay, by default, it does not yet have all the parameters, all the group objects that I'm expecting. So at the moment, this device out of the box has 17 group objects configured. And if I now do a random count in my head, I select a few of them because those are the ones that I'm interested in, for example. I see I have selected 6 group objects. But I already know that these are not enough. So I go to the parameters. And also here, this is not news to you. You have a lot of options depending on the device. So you can change parameters. You can change the objects that are available to you. So I change now a parameter and I see 2 more group objects have become available. And this is the same for every device. But what you also see is that not every device is the same, because also devices differentiate themselves by different parameters, different objects, and different designs. So if I, for example, open this DALI gateway here, you see also, again, different parameters. And very often, it makes sense and it pays to look into these and really take the time and configure these devices to then see the relevant group objects you need and then be able to configure them. For this purpose, we have also introduced a new column. And this column is the linked with column. So you see here that I have now a switching actuator. And previously, we had the group address column. And it would show to you which group address or which group addresses are linked to a group object. What we have now done is we introduced the linked with column. And this allows you to also see which function is connected to an object. And you see, even without a decent and sensible naming scheme for my group addresses, I am able to distinguish them by using functions. So I know here, even though they are all called switching in the end, in the group address name, but I know that this switching is the switching from my ceiling light in the bedroom, whereas this is from the wall light in the living room. So this new introduction, for one, of course, makes it more valuable to rely on functions, but it also adds more context. Now, let's assume you have finished configuring and downloading your installation. You would want to look at your diagnostics panel to perhaps debug certain functionality or certain processes in your installation. We have here introduced some new options. Now you're also able to look for devices in the programming mode inside the whole installation. But we add here a little bit of a warning, because this might take some time because of the extensive possibilities KNX offers. Also, the light scan allows you to scan down towards a certain segment. So if I do that, I'm only scanning within a segment, for example. Or, like before, I'm scanning the whole backbone or the whole IP line or the whole line. Now, once I'm done with my project, I've finished all the work, go back to buildings, and it's not the case right now, but assuming I have covered all the flags, I would be closing my project. ETS creates a restore point to make sure all the work is secured. And now I would want to export the project. And this is also something that we have reintroduced as a new function. And that is that we now can export as a turtle file export. We call this here the turtle file export, and sometimes we also call this the KNX semantic export. And this new format is, in a standardized way, making it easier for visualization tools to import this file format. And this new file format, in a standardized way, defines what functions, what devices, what building structure I have included in my project. Now, this is only the beginning. In the coming months, we will extend this and we will make it easier to and more comprehensive what is included in this turtle file. But stay tuned. This will offer a lot more functionality very soon. Now, I'm here only a sole user, but as you probably know, we have in ETS the collaboration mode. This is especially helpful for teams working in ETS together. So if you have a greater team working on the same project or sharing the archive, you would activate the collaboration mode. You might even add linked folders, but we have covered this in a previous session, so I'm not going through that detail now. But in collaboration mode, and you can see now here, that's the two icons, two face icons. I have now the collaboration mode active. And what this means is somebody else working in ETS, sharing the archive with me, could lock projects because that person is working on them. Whereas I could lock projects that I am working on, and so I make sure that no one else is touching these projects. That's it for today. I would like to invite you to participate in our ETS user experience survey. You find the link here. By the time you watch this video, you might have to scroll a little bit, but generally there's a link here and you can directly click on it and get to our survey. I would love to hear your feedback, not only on ETS 6.1.1, but also on the next versions. So we will keep this link active for as long as we can, or we will make another one when needed. But tell us what your experience is. As usual, I'm very much excited to hear what you have to say, and I look forward to you using ETS 6.1.1. So thank you.